dragons. Perhaps no mythological creature captures human imagination quite like the dragon, whose symbolism varies dramatically across cultures, revealing profound truths about how different societies view power. In Chinese culture, dragons represent divine blessing, imperial power, and harmony with nature. Unlike their Western counterparts, these dragons are wingless, serpentine beings who control water and weather. They're seen as wise creatures who bring rain for crops and prosperity to the land. Western dragons present a fascinating contrast. European dragons typically appear as winged, fire-breathing reptilians, often portrayed as threats to be overcome. They represent primal forces of chaos that must be tamed by civilization. In Christian symbolism, dragons became associated with Satan. Norse dragons like Jormungandr and Fafnir add another dimension. These creatures represent both cosmic forces and moral corruption. The world serpent encircling the earth shows dragons as fundamental forces of nature, while Fafnir's transformation demonstrates how dragons embody human PHOE. The phoenix stands unique among mythological creatures as a universal symbol of renewal and resilience, appearing in multiple cultures as a testament to life's endless capacity for rebirth. In Egyptian mythology, the Bennu bird was a self-creating being that played a role in the creation of the world. Associated with the sun god Ra and the flooding of the Nile, it represented the cyclical nature of existence. Greek mythology transformed this concept into the more familiar phoenix we know today, a bird that builds its own funeral pyre, burns to ashes, and rises renewed. This version emphasizes personal transformation through suffering, suggesting that destruction can be a pathway to rebirth. Chinese mythology features the Fengguang, often called the Chinese phoenix. Rather than emphasizing death and rebirth, the Fengguang represents the union of yin and yang, appearing in times of peace and prosperity.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more topics you love.
Unicorn. The unicorn, far more than just a horse with a horn, represents humanity's eternal quest for purity and the untamable aspects of nature. Its evolution through history reveals changing attitudes toward wilderness, innocence, and the divine. Medieval European unicorns were powerful creatures that could only be tamed by pure maidens. This symbolism blended Christian allegory with older pagan beliefs about the sacred feminine and nature's wild spirit. The famous unicorn tapestries tell complex stories about civilization's attempt to capture and tame natural magic. In Middle Eastern traditions, particularly Persian mythology, the Kraken appeared as creatures of great power and nobility. Unlike their European cousins, these unicorns were seen more as natural wonders than spiritual symbols, though they were still associated with purification. Most profoundly, unicorns represent what humans believe they've lost in becoming civilized, a connection to pure nature. The persistent belief that unicorn horns could purify water and heal sickness speaks to an ancient understanding that the natural world holds secrets modern civilization has forgotten. Kraken. From the dark depths of Norse mythology emerges the Kraken, a creature that embodies humanity's primal fears of the ocean's unknown depths and our complex relationship with the maritime world that both sustains and threatens us. Originally described in Norwegian chronicles, the Kraken was so vast that sailors mistook it for an island. When ships anchored on its back, it would drag them into the depths. This image speaks to the precarious nature of human existence against nature's overwhelming power. The Kraken represents both the ocean's bounty, as stories tell of it driving fish to the surface for fishermen, and its destructive potential. What makes the Kraken particularly fascinating is how it evolved from folklore into scientific speculation. Even Carl Linnaeus, the father of modern taxonomy, included it in his scientific classifications. This shows how mythological creatures often exist in the boundary between known and unknown, helping humans process encounters with the mysterious. Most profoundly, the Kraken represents humanity's ambivalent relationship with the ocean itself, a force that enables trade and provides food, yet remains fundamentally unconquerable and mysterious. SPHINX, the Sphinx, with its human head and lion's body, stands as one of mythology's most sophisticated symbols of the marriage between human wisdom and natural power. This hybrid creature appears in both Egyptian and Greek mythology, each version offering deep insights into how these cultures viewed the relationship between nature, wisdom, and power. In Egyptian mythology, the great Sphinx of Giza served as a solar deity and royal guardian. The human face on a lion's body represented the pharaoh's divine power combined with physical might. The Sphinx watched over the dead, connecting the earthly realm with the divine, while its eastward gaze to meet the rising sun symbolized resurrection and eternal life. The Greek Sphinx took on a different but equally profound role, famous for posing riddles to travelers and devouring those who couldn't answer. This female version represented the dangerous aspects of wisdom and the price of knowledge. Her famous riddle about human nature highlights the Greek preoccupation with self-knowledge and human limitation. Most profoundly, the Sphinx in both cultures represents the integration of human consciousness with animal power, suggesting that true wisdom requires both intellectual understanding and primal strength. In Japanese folklore, Kitsune are fox spirits that embody the complex interplay between human civilization and wild nature, as well as the thin line between wisdom and trickery. These fascinating creatures grow more tails as they age, gaining power and wisdom until they reach 9 tails, representing the height of supernatural ability and enlightenment. What makes Kitsune particularly fascinating is their ability to shapeshift into human form, usually appearing as beautiful women. This transformation ability represents the fluid boundary between human and animal worlds in Japanese mythology. Their famous tricks range from harmless mischief to elaborate deceptions, yet they can also be faithful guardians and wise advisors. The Kitsune serve as messengers of Inari, the Shinto deity of rice, prosperity, and fertility. This connection shows how Japanese culture views nature spirits as integral to human prosperity, unlike the Western tendency to see nature and civilization as opposing forces. The fox's role as both trickster and divine messenger suggests that wisdom often comes through unexpected, even troubling experiences. Most profoundly, Kitsune represent the Japanese understanding that truth and deception, wisdom and wildness, are not opposites, but interconnected aspects of existence. Their stories teach that appearances can be deceiving, yet deception itself might lead to deeper truth. Minotaur. The Minotaur, half man and half bull, imprisoned in the labyrinth, represents one of mythology's most complex metaphors for the struggle between human consciousness and primal instincts. This creature's story delves deep into themes of civilization's darkest secrets, forbidden desires, and the price of denying our animal nature. Born from Queen Pasiphae's unnatural union with a sacred bull, The Minotaur embodies the consequences of transgressing divine and natural laws. His very existence represents a shameful secret that must be hidden away in the labyrinth, much like how societies often try to conceal their darker aspects. The labyrinth itself becomes a powerful symbol of the human psyche, with its twisted passages representing the complexity of our inner darkness. King Minos's sacrifices of young Athenians speaks to how societies often maintain their order through hidden violence and sacrifice. The hero Theseus's journey into the labyrinth to slay the Minotaur parallels the psychological journey into one's own darkness, with Ariadne's thread representing the lifeline of consciousness that prevents us from becoming lost in our own primal nature. The Minotaur's dual nature, human reason trapped in an animal body, reflects humanity's eternal struggle with its own dual nature. Unlike centaurs or other hybrid creatures who achieve some harmony between their dual aspects, the Minotaur represents internal conflict and the tragedy of being neither fully human nor fully beast. Most profoundly, the Minotaur myth teaches us that our monsters are of our own making, born from our violations of natural law and our inability to integrate our primal nature with our civilized selves. The labyrinth reminds us that facing these inner monsters requires both courage and guidance, while the thread suggests that maintaining connection to our higher consciousness is essential for surviving encounters with our darker aspects. Naga. The Naga, magnificent serpent beings from Hindu and Buddhist traditions, represent some of mythology's most sophisticated symbols of cosmic power and spiritual transformation. These ancient entities serve as guardians of water, wealth, and spiritual knowledge, embodying the link between earthly existence and higher realms of consciousness. In Hindu mythology, Nagas are depicted as cobra-like creatures or as human serpent hybrids. Their connection to water symbolizes both life's origin and the fluid, transformative nature of consciousness. The great cosmic serpent Ananta, on which Vishnu rests, represents the infinite potential from which all creation emerges. Buddhist traditions view Nagas as powerful nature spirits who protected the Buddha and guard sacred teachings. The story of the Naga king Mukalinda represents how primal forces of nature serve spiritual awakening. Their role as guardians of sacred texts suggests that spiritual wisdom unfolds gradually as consciousness evolves. Their ability to move between different realms of existence makes them perfect mediators. In tantric traditions, Nagas represent Kundalini energy, the dormant spiritual power that lies coiled at the base of the spine, waiting to rise through the chakras toward enlightenment. Most profoundly, Nagas teach us about the relationship between wisdom and power. While they possess great wealth and knowledge, they share these only with those who approach with proper respect and preparation. Wendigo. The Wendigo, a terrifying creature from Algonquian-speaking peoples' traditions, stands as one of mythology's most powerful warnings about human greed. This gaunt, towering creature with an eternal hunger represents the destructive transformation that occurs when human needs turn to insatiable wants. The Wendigo is unique because it represents something humans can become. Traditional stories describe it as a human who resorts to cannibalism and subsequently transforms into an ever-hungry monster. Its massive size, paired with perpetual emaciation, symbolizes how greed creates a hunger that grows rather than diminishes with each attempt to satisfy it. The environmental aspects of Wendigo tales are particularly relevant today. The creature represents the consequences of taking more than nature can provide and breaking the sacred bonds between human communities and the natural world. Its association with winter and famine speaks to the precarious balance of survival in harsh conditions. Modern interpretations see the Wendigo as a powerful metaphor for colonialism, capitalism, and environmental destruction. The creature's insatiable hunger parallels modern society's endless consumption, while its solitary nature represents the isolation that comes from prioritizing individual desires over community needs. Most profoundly, the Wendigo myth warns us that losing our connection to nature, community, and moral principles doesn't just harm others, it transforms us into something monstrous. The creature's cold heart and endless hunger show how disconnection from empathy and natural law creates a spiritual and psychological starvation that no amount of consumption can satisfy. Griffin. The griffin, with its eagle's head and wings combined with a lion's body, represents one of mythology's most perfect unions of earth and sky, strength and wisdom. This majestic creature, appearing in the art and stories of multiple ancient civilizations, embodies the ideal of power tempered by noble purpose. As a fusion of the king of birds and the king of beasts, the griffin combines the eagle's sharp vision and the lion's earthly power. In ancient art, this dual nature made it a perfect guardian of sacred spaces and treasures. The creature's ability to navigate both sky and earth symbolizes the integration of spiritual wisdom with worldly strength. The griffin's role in heraldry and royal symbolism speaks to medieval ideals of noble power. Its fierce loyalty and keen sense of justice made it a model for righteous leadership. Unlike dragons or other powerful mythical beasts that often represent chaos or danger, griffins exemplify protective strength in service of higher principles. Archaeological evidence shows griffins appearing in ancient Egypt, Persia, and Greece, suggesting deep cultural connections across the ancient world. In many traditions, they were believed to mate for life and fiercely protect their young, representing both loyalty and the nurturing aspects of power. Most profoundly, the griffin teaches us that true nobility comes from uniting seemingly opposite qualities: the spiritual with the physical, wisdom with strength, justice with power. Its endurance as a symbol suggests humanity's persistent hope that power can serve wisdom rather than dominate it. Selkie. The Selkie, mysterious seal, people who can shed their skin to walk on land, embody one of folklore's most poignant explorations of identity, freedom, and the complex relationship between humans and the natural world. These shape-shifting beings from Celtic and Norse mythology capture the bittersweet nature of love across different worlds. Unlike mermaids or other sea folk, Selkies maintain their dual nature through physical transformation, the removal and donning of their seal skin. This tangible connection to their true nature makes their stories particularly powerful metaphors for identity and authenticity. The common tale of a human stealing a Selkie's skin to force them into marriage speaks to themes of control and consent. In traditional stories, female Selkies are often captured by human men, while male Selkies seduce human women who shed 7 tears into the sea. These gendered narratives reflect historical power dynamics and the different ways men and women might feel trapped in domestic situations. Most profoundly, Selkie tales speak to the part of us that feels caught between different worlds, between wild and tame, between responsibility and freedom, between what we are and what others want us to be. Their stories remind us that denying someone's essential nature no matter how much we love them, ultimately leads to sorrow.